Greetings, Earthlings. I have another quick update from the Absurdium for you. Um, this isn't something that we didn't already know, but it's good to at least have the confirmation. And this is in the Middle East eye. Leaks reveal Netanyahu deliberately imposed starvation in Gaza to force Hamas surrender. Okay, so there was never a deal on the table where there's a ceasefire, they hand over the hostages. They were always going to try and take the hostages by force, and by forcing Hamas to surrender by effectively starving everyone in Gaza. Now, some pretext to that is that when the UN voted on making starvation illegal as a weapon of war, okay, so you can't weaponize starvation, the vote was almost unanimous, apart from two countries, and I'm sure I don't have to spell it out to you who those two countries are. So, what do we have here? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected calls from senior ministers to advance ceasefire negotiations and deliberately restricted all aid to Gaza in order to force a surrender from Hamas. Internal government transcripts published by Israeli news outlet Channel 13 have revealed. The transcripts from an Israeli war cabinet meeting on the 1st of March show that Netanyahu ignored repeated calls from senior defense officials to move to the second phase of the ceasefire agreement in order to secure the release of Israeli captives and then to renew hostilities afterwards. It's not like Israel's never violated a ceasefire agreement or a UN resolution, so why would Netanyahu want to keep the hostages there? Well, probably for the same reason that he refused to take the hostages back on the 9th of October when Hamas offered to release every single hostage they have. That's documented. So, Netanyahu instead chose to unilaterally break the ceasefire in March and bar all aid to Gaza in the hopes of forcing a surrender by Hamas. He wasn't hoping to force a surrender by Hamas. He's hoping to keep himself out of jail, continue security incidents going on so that he can keep postponing his trial. This was despite Hamas complying with the talks contrary to the war cabinet's expectations. According to the transcripts, the defense officials' calls were backed by Shin Bet Chief Ronan Bar and Defense Minister Israel Katz, so even Fatty Warmonger, thought that they should get all the hostages back before they resumed hostilities. So he argued for advancing the deal, believing that a temporary pause in fighting could see the return of all Israeli captives held in Gaza. In the leaked internal documents, the Israeli Forces Captives Chief, Major General Nitzan Alon, is quoted as saying, "The only chance to get the hostages released is to discuss Phase B conditions." Barr said that his preferred option is to move to Phase B, adding that Israel could resume the war afterwards. Katz supported a partial deal, stating that if Hamas returns even a number of hostages, less than half, that's excellent. Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer noted that the Israeli war cabinet thought the talks would explode once we entered them, and that didn't happen. The Hostages Families Forum said the revelations were damning and that the government knowingly and deliberately sabotaged captive exchange deals and led the public astray. Yeah, no shit. The Israeli-imposed blockade on all humanitarian aid entering Gaza has unleashed famine in the territory, with 197 Palestinians dying of starvation so far, including 96 children. In late July, the world's leading hunger monitoring system warned that the worst-case scenario of famine is unfolding in Gaza due to the Israeli-imposed famine siege. And this is the really kind of worrying and nauseating part. A recent poll revealed that the majority of Israelis are not troubled by reports of famine and suffering in Gaza. Okay, so there is this desire now where the West is accepting culpability and they're slowly trying to get their houses in order, and they want to just demonize Netanyahu, and you'll get no argument from me here. He is the nearest thing I've seen to pure evil in my life. However, this is not just him. This is where Israeli society has gone, and we have less than 20% of the public that's not okay with this. Now, this gets worse. We already know that the transcripts from Netanyahu's phone calls on October the 7th have been altered. That's one of the investigations that's going on. Now, a couple of IDF members, including a commander, have testified that they were told to stand down from their posts on October the 7th until 9 a.m. Would Netanyahu sacrifice his own people in order to further his own agenda? I'll leave you to answer that question.